Emeka's eyes would often wander back to those tremendous days at Federal Government College in Enugu, Nigeria. As a junior student, he was constantly bullied by his seniors. They would swoop down on him like vultures, taking his lunch money, pushing him around, and calling him names that cut deeper than any knife. Emeka tried to avoid them, but it seemed like no matter what he did, he couldn't escape their torment. They would lie in wait for him in the corridors, their eyes glimmering with malice as they watched him approach. Emeka's heart would sink, his palms growing sweaty as he tried to prepare himself for the inevitable. The bullies were led by a towering senior named Ike, who seemed to take great pleasure in Emeka's misery. Ike would often single Emeka out, taunting him in front of his classmates and making him feel like a worthless, insignificant speck. Emeka's grades began to suffer, and he found himself withdrawing from his friends and family. He felt like he was walking around with a heavy weight on his shoulders, a weight that he couldn't shake no matter how hard he tried. But Emeka refused to give up. He poured all his energy into his studies, determined to escape the hellhole that his school had become. And when he finally became a senior student himself, Emeka made a vow to stand up against bullying in his school. Whenever he saw his fellow seniors bullying junior students, Emeka would intervene, his voice firm and commanding, "Leave him alone," he would say, his eyes blazing with a fierce inner light. "He's just a kid. He doesn't deserve to be treated like this." The bullies would sneer and snap, but Emeka wouldn't back down. He would stand his ground, his heart pounding in his chest, until the bullies finally backed off. Emeka's fellow students began to look up to him, admiring his courage and his conviction. He became known as a defender of the weak, a champion of justice and fairness. But little did Emeka know, his struggles with bullying were far from over. After completing his secondary education, Emeka went on to attend the University of Nigeria, where he studied business administration. He graduated with honors and landed a job at a reputable company in Lagos. But Emeka soon discovered that his workplace was filled with bullies who would stop at nothing to intimidate and humiliate their colleagues. They would take credit for his ideas, sabotage his projects, and even steal his clients. Emeka tried to report this to the superiors, but they seemed to turn blind eye to the bullying. Emeka's business also suffered at the hands of bullies. He would buy a plot of land only for someone to come and claim it as their own. He would try to stand up for himself, but the bullies would threaten him with violence, and Emeka would back down. It seemed like Emeka was destined to be a victim of bullying for the rest of his life. He began to doubt himself, wondering if he was somehow flawed or inadequate. But then, something changed. Emeka met a wonderful woman named Neoma, and they fell deeply in love. Neoma was a strong and confident woman who wouldn't take nonsense from anyone. When Emeka told Neoma about bullying, he was suffering. She was outraged. She told Emeka that he needed to stand up for himself and assert his rights. Emeka tried to explain to her that he was afraid of violence, but Neoma would accept that as an excuse. She told Emeka that he needed to build his self-esteem and confidence. She encouraged him to start exercising and taking care of his physical health. Emeka started doing 800 push-ups every day, and soon he began to feel stronger and more confident. Neoma also encouraged Emeka to start seeing people as mere mortals, rather than as an intimidating figures. She told him that everyone puts their pants on one leg at a time, and that he shouldn't be afraid of anyone. Emeka took Neoma's advice to heart, and soon he began to assert himself in the workplace and in his business dealings. He started to stand up for himself and refusing to back down. It wasn't easy, and Emeka faced a lot of resistance and backlash from the bullies. But he refused to give up. He kept pushing forward, and soon he began to see results. The bullies started to back off, and Emeka's business began to flourish. He became known as a shrewd and confident businessman who wouldn't take nonsense from anyone. 5 years after Emeka made the decision to stand up for himself, he had become one of the most successful businessmen in his area. He had built a business empire that employed hundreds of people, and he had become a respected leader in his community. And as for the bullies who had tormented him for so long, years went by, and Emeka's business empire continued to grow. He became a respected and celebrated entrepreneur, known for his innovative ideas and commitment to excellence. But as Emeka's fame grew, so did the number of people who wanted to take advantage of him. The bullies from the past, who had once made his life a living hell, suddenly remembered his existence and began to reach out to him. They would send him messages, asking for favors and connections. They would try to meet with him, hoping to secure contracts and deals. But Emeka was not fooled. He remembered the pain and suffering they had caused him and was not about to let them back into his life. One day, Emeka received a call from Ike, the tallest and most notorious of the bullies. Ike's voice was smooth and ingratiating, but Emeka could hear the insincerity behind it. "Ike, what do you want?" Emeka asked, his voice firm and commanding. "I just wanted to congratulate you on your success, Emeka," Ike replied. "I've been hearing great things about you, and I'm really proud of you." Emeka laughed, a cold, mirthless sound. "Save it, Ike," he said. "I know what you are after. You want something from me, don't you?" Ike hesitated, taken aback by Emeka's directness. "Well, I was thinking maybe we could do some business together," he said. "I have some connections that could really help you out." Emeka's eyes narrowed. "I don't think so, Ike," he said. "I've worked too hard to get to where I am today. I'm not about to let someone like you come in and take advantage of me." Ike's face turned red with anger, but Emeka just laughed again. "You should have thought of that before you decided to bully me all those years ago," he said. "Now, if you excuse me, I have more important things to attend to." And with that, Emeka hung up the phone, leaving Ike to seethe with anger and frustration. Emeka smiled to himself, feeling a sense of satisfaction and vindication. He had finally overcome the bullies of his past, and he was determined to never let them back into his life again. The story highlights 4 takeaways. 1. Resilience and determination can overcome adversity. 2. Standing up for oneself is crucial. 3. Supportive relationship can be transformative. 4. Personal growth and self-awareness are key. These lessons emphasize the importance of believing in oneself, standing up against bully, building resilience, and surrounding oneself with positive influences. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video. See you in the next one.